You guys, you should not be here in this live. You should be with the guy that's got nearly 800 people in his live watching him remove gold from old computer components. I just followed him.
Business owner, educator, and lifelong observer of politics and economics, making sense of complex issues.
I just followed him because I've got about 6 old computers sitting out in my shed, and I might just see if I can get some gold. Considering the gold prices right now, that is insane. So no wonder he's got nearly 800 people. The best way to help is to go to my PayPal. The other way to help is go to Amazon and buy these books because they're killing me. They're killing me. The fees are just destroying me in Amazon so much that I've had to turn off all my campaigns because what Amazon is charging me to keep my product in the warehouse is just so phenomenal now, and the charges they just, oh my god, if anyone knows anything about Amazon FBA, you know that you've got to be selling constantly, and I'm selling, at best I sell 1 unit a day, and that's not cutting it, and on average I'm probably doing like 2 units a week. It's terrible. Yeah, like I said, I just saw a live, and how many people in my life? 14. This guy had over 700 people in his live, and what he was doing was removing, I mean, you've probably seen it, he was removing gold and precious metals from old computer components, and I'm gonna have to go and have a look at that because I need some gold in my life to pay for my losses in Amazon. Are you a Christian? No. Why is that a question? That's, I'll tell you, actually, there we go. Thank you for the topic. Questions that are not acceptable in normal conversation. In my country and your country, asking someone what their religion is, that's not cool, right? Generally. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Acceptable questions for conversation. In Japan, it's totally acceptable to ask someone that you've just met, are you married? Are you in a relationship? And there's also a separation between what's acceptable to ask foreigners and what's acceptable to ask Japanese. So no Japanese is going to ask another Japanese, how did you meet? If you're with someone. I can't actually think off the top of my head now. Oh, Japanese will totally ask you what your religion is. If you're overweight, they'll ask you why. Why are you overweight? They will totally, without meaning to shame you. And they'll do it to each other as well. That's something that they will ask. So I've never been asked that on here before. So that's rude. It is rude. What's your question? Are you a Christian? Do you love anime? No, I don't watch anime at all. No, I'm not a weeaboo. Yeah. It's Saturday night. Yeah, so I live in Japan and I have been here over 20 years. I didn't come here because of any interest in anime or anything like that. I initially came here. I'll tell you the long story. So I was basically raised to join the Navy, and obviously I didn't. And so part of that was that my dad was in the Navy and he loved US and Japan. Those were his favorites. And so he would always say, when you grow up, you'll go to Japan. Because I'd say, I want to go to Japan. He'll say, well, you'll go to officers college and you'll join the Navy and you'll go to Japan. And so when I was in high school, we had 2 options, French or Japanese. We had half a year of each. I did pretty good in French and really bad in Japanese, so I chose Japanese. And then I went through high school and did Japanese and didn't end up joining the Navy. So when I went to university, I decided to focus on economics and politics. And I could choose an area, and I chose Asia. and I chose Japan as the major. And I did lots of China-related subjects, but as far as the Japanese side of it was management, language, history, politics, and all that. On the Chinese side, I mostly did modern history. So from, Qing dynasty on, kind of thing. I can't, Mrs. Buttertooth, I can't say that out loud, but if everyone can see Mrs. Buttertooth as comment, I my view on the Second Amendment, so let's call it that instead of saying those words, because that will get me restricted in TikTok. On that issue, it's very, very simple to the ROW, the rest of the world. And this is something I was listening to Ben Shapiro talk about. It's been in a couple of my videos because I listened to this podcast where he talked about how other countries don't have a Second Amendment. And he was talking about how somewhere like Israel, if they did have a Second Amendment, maybe it would be a good thing. And I'm not going to get into that discussion. But because we don't have one, it's not something that we hold up as it's not there in our constitution, which you might be surprised to. Some Americans, for some reason, are often surprised to learn that other countries have constitutions too. It's just that we don't talk about them, and that's not to say that you shouldn't talk about it. The American Constitution is uniquely different. There are a few different things going on in there. Some of the things that a lot of it comes from the Magna Carta, and it comes from the basis of parliamentary democracy and what we have, the system of government that we have. We should talk about shutdowns later. And it's just not in there that there's this thing enshrined in our Constitution that we're talking about giving up or losing or keeping. So it's just when something happens in Australia to do with these things, it's not so emotional that people are against it. It's also this is why I'm actually saying why it's so easy for us to be against it. So I'm not saying this applies to you, because it certainly doesn't, but the rest of the world, it's very easy for us to just look at the US and go, why? But it's not that simple. It's much more complicated than that. And it's like, at least for Australia and most other countries, it's just not a thing. We don't have them. We never really had them. And so giving them up wasn't a really big deal. Now, that said, there was a lot of opposition in Australia. And there have been, it's not a slippery slope, but it has the initial laws that were brought in to restrict certain types of them has expanded. But it hasn't expanded so much so that people who want them can't have them. Like if I'm just a guy living in Sydney and I want one, I can't get one. I can't have one. I have to have a legitimate purpose and reason. I could become a sports person that wants to, and then you go through a whole thing. In Japan here too, one of my friends did go through the process of being able to get one. And Japan's like one of the most difficult countries in the world to do that. And he actually got to quite a high level, and then he gave it up. He decided not to bother because he was going to do some hunting, wild boar. And there's actually a big problem in Japan because there's not enough hunters to hunt the wild boar and the deer and the other things that are sometimes, a bit out of control. So it's easy for us to, when you ask us, what do you think about it? It's easy for me to say, why? Just stop it. It's not that easy for you, right? It's not like there's something missing in the American psyche that is not comprehending what's going on. It's the fact that it's so, it's like, this is a ridiculous comparison, but it's like asking the Japanese to give up tuna. which was asked of them at least a couple of decades ago. Oh, whale was another one. Like they were told to give up whale, which they haven't. And yeah, but it's more like the tuna because it's such a part of their life. It's so ingrained in their society that the cost that there may be no more tuna left in the world, they'll work something out. And I think that's what you guys are in the process of doing. You're going to keep it, but you're going to try and work something out. I hope that helps. Because I don't. The reason I'm saying it like this is I don't want to sound like that foreigner that comes in and says, "You guys are crazy. What are you doing?" But that is how the rest of the world thinks of it. That's how they look at it, and they say, "No, that cost is too high," and it's easy for them to say that because they don't live in that situation under those conditions. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I think it's hi Deanna. I think it is something that you guys have debated probably eternally, at least, you know, for as long as I've been old enough to understand the difference. Um, you know, I remember. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but I'm thinking about prohibition. I mean, you got that done. You decided against it, but you got it done, and then you rejected it, but which was probably a good move. Okay, so I did eat whale, so I wanted to try it. Um, it's horrible, and I'll give you the story about whale if you want. Do you want? Does anyone want the whale story? Not my story, but the reason. So, traditionally in Japan, whale was hunted by coastal communities. It wasn't a normal family meal. So when you hear that argument that this is a basic native dish of Japan, it wasn't. Some people ate it, and they ate it seasonally and on occasion. So it wasn't like it was this. It wasn't rice or you know some vegetable or some other thing that exists as a staple in their diet. It was something that came along occasionally when they caught one, when they were around, and when that meat was transferred to other communities that didn't have it. That's when they ate it. And so that argument to me is a bit spurious. But what happened after World War II when there wasn't a lot of food and there was now the ability to catch whales? The Americans provided a modern whaling fleet, and so the Japanese, who had always only ever caught coastal whales, like whales that came in close enough to be caught by their small boats, they'd never had any offshore whaling industry. That was provided by the Americans, and they used that to hunt whales and provide actually one of the main meals for post World War II Japan. And this became a staple in school lunches. So if you don't know, school lunches, since for a long time, is provided by the government. All schools, all throughout Japan, have a school lunch. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's one of the things Japan really does pretty well. And that consisted of a lot of whale meat. Apparently, I don't know this, I wasn't around, but in the 40s and 50s, there was a lot of whale meat in there because that was a way to provide protein and sustenance to people. And that's why whale is a big thing in Japan. Let me just get to the end of that. They don't eat it in school lunches anymore, but it does come up. Um, I think my daughter's school served whale a couple of times a year, and they did that just to keep that tradition alive. And there's a Gen X. are very. What's the one before Gen X? They're the ones that really crave the whale meat. But generally, young, modern people don't eat whale meat ever on a regular basis. And sometimes they throw a little bit in the school lunch. And when I mean a little bit, like a tiny, tiny little bit. Kamala Harris will run again. Do you think? Ah, look, I can't. That's like so far out of my purview. I could never even hope to answer a question like that. So, guys, it's Saturday night and Sunday here in Japan. It's cold and wet, and my daughter's home, but she's busy. She's in. She's doing really good. She's applying for sponsorships. She's looking into universities. She's cooking lunch and now making dessert. And so I'm just leaving her alone. At some stage, she'll come in and ask me to play Monopoly with her. But that's my Sunday today. Usually, I'm either taking her to sailing practice or she is with her mom at sailing practice, and I'm working here. But we have an event to go to this afternoon where she's getting an award from the mayor, and that's not until late afternoon, so we're just kind of chilling until then. And so it's a chance for me to come on here, say hello to my friends, and tell you how you can fix the shutdown, because it's actually quite easy. Do you want me to tell you now? Okay, don't do it. That's not fair, is it? That's not fair. It's like someone asked me earlier about the Second Amendment. It's like, well, just don't do it. It's so easy for us to say that. It's really actually quite complicated for you guys. Because your president is elected separately, it means that there is this separation and there is this inability for them to pass a budget that they propose. In parliamentary democracies, if the budget fails, the government fails. Like you get a literal change of government if their budget fails, because it's their budget. That's the government's budget. If it's not approved, then the government is not approved. So they have to have an election. Wouldn't that be fun? I bet some of you would like that. But there are ways around it. There's different things that both sides can agree to, changing the rules a little bit. Thank you. Deanna is here. And then you would avoid this shutdown, making pre-approved budgets and things like that. But it's a weapon. It's a tool. It's something that can be used, so neither side wants to give it up. So that's why you end up in this situation. So when someone says to me, do you think Kamala Harris will run again? Absolutely no idea. I don't even know her that well. I can only look at things on an overall view. Okay, this is my take, and you can judge how much I understand the American political system by this. I think in that first election, when Hillary ran, if Bernie had run, us, the ROW, the rest of the world, we thought that was in the bag. We were already putting our money on President Sanders because the Republican nominee was Trump. It's like, okay, well, whoever gets chosen on the other side is going to win. And it doesn't matter. But it's going to be Bernie, right? Because that's what all the polls show, that if Bernie ran against Trump, then Bernie would win. And that didn't happen. So then in the next one, when it was Kamala, we were like, I have no idea. But I think the ROW then were putting their money on Trump. Everyone was. And so when you talk about the next election, well, who's running for the Republicans? I have no idea. His son? One of his sons? J.D. Vance? Who would they be up against? I don't know. But who do I think would win? Bernie Sanders. So I'm still there. That's how little I understand it. People are going to need to go to the doctor tomorrow because their eyes just rolled so far up that they won't come back. I mean, I think Bernie's like 104. No, I think he's 70. 76, 78, 80, 86. I don't know. But I think age is a very it's one of the reasons I don't agree with an age limit on presidents because I mean, look at someone like Queen Elizabeth. Obviously, no political power whatsoever, so a different story. But man, she was really pretty. She was on the ball right up to the end. She knew what time it was. I can't say that for a lot of people I know that are nowhere near that age. I mean, you know, I can only hope and pray that when I'm her age, I have my faculties about me as much as she did. You know, you can't compare two 80-year-olds. That's basically what I'm saying. You can't. Yeah. I mean, I see people my age, and I'm like, dude, I lived a hard life. What the heck happened to you? It all comes down to your health and mental health. So yeah, I can, I can only, you know, I follow a couple of economists. I've told you guys will all know this, and my two favorite economists were the only people back at the first Trump election that said he was going to win when everyone was saying, I'm talking outside the US, when everyone was saying there's no way in the world the Americans are going to vote for Trump. And these guys were like, yeah, they are. And that was Yanis Varoufakis, the former finance minister of Greece, studied economics in Australia, and Mark Blyth from Brown University, a Scottish economist. Those are my two favorites. Those guys I will listen to before anybody else about anything because they're just spot on. And Giannis is way left, too left for me. But Mark Blyth is not. Mark is like me in the sense whatever works. There's no ideology in this. It's just whatever works. And if you want to understand US politics and economics, go to Mark Blyth, a Scottish economist. He describes himself as sounding like Shrek. So that's something if you're really interested in what the rest of the world thinks and maybe a good analysis of your own country. Mark Blyth at Brown University, Rhodes Center, as in Cecil Rhodes. Rhodes Center podcast is a great place to get information about that. Earlier, I was watching a live for like 10 seconds, but I followed the guy straight away. He was removing gold from electrical components, from old computer parts, old motherboards and memory, RAM, right? Which I've got some out the back here. I'm like, considering gold prices right now, that might not be a futile thing to do for me if I can get the chemicals into it. So I followed him. But he had over 700 people. He had nearly 800 people in his live. That's amazing. So let's see if we can get up to 100 people in here. Oh, does Marilyn know you raided his wardrobe? Okay, nothing. People can say a lot of things to me, and it doesn't hurt my feelings. Something my daughter says, and I think I've passed this on to her because she's pretty tough too. Is she's like, she checks my comments and things. She's like, wow, some people say some pretty mean stuff to you. I'm like, yeah, that's the stuff that is approved. You should see the ones that aren't approved. But raided Barry Manilow's wardrobe? Come on. I can see that. I can see that a little bit. I thought you were going to say his wigs, but does Barry Manilow know you raided his wardrobe? Well, this is I'm not selling these, but this is a Paul Smith polo shirt, and it fits really well. It's one of the few things I can get that fit me quite well, and it's pretty good quality. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's still a polo shirt. I understand. Um, if you can't see, but I'm actually wearing skinny black jeans. So how do you feel about that? I've got to stop doing that, wearing skinny black jeans. I'm nearly 60. Oh, Joyce wrote a book about climate change. Climate changed? Why did I make that the past tense? Joyce wrote a book about climate change published February 2025. Okay, you should give us the title. Oh, yes. Okay. So Jane Goodall passed. Yes. Okay. Um, all right. I don't have any sort of direct kind of comments to make about that, other than that was sad. And I think she was 91, and she made a great contribution to environmental studies. But that's all I can say there. Okay. Um, yeah, I know. How does your daughter feel about the skinny jeans? Yeah, she's kind of like, well, no, she's kind of says you look all right. Actually, I do have to change because when I go to this presentation this afternoon, I should wear something a bit more formal. But yeah, I think I can still pull off a pair of skinny jeans. But that might be the problem. I think I can. I think that's a problem with a lot of older men is they still think they can pull that off. Oh, thank you, Eddie. Yeah, yeah. Paul Smith is good. I have a Paul. I have quite a bit of Paul Smith. I have quite a bit of Paul Smith because it's one of the brands in Japan that I can find, and it's it fit. I know what size I'm getting. So I can't afford the suits and things, but I'll get the occasional sweater on sale and things like that. Yeah. No, my daughter thinks I'm a good dancer too. What editing software do you use? I'd like to use it. Okay. Lord Whistledown, hello. So when I take these lives, not this one, because it's not very structured, I won't be able to get anything out of it. But when I do my regular live and it goes for about an hour, I download that from TikTok onto my PC and I put it into Opus Clips. Opus is OPUS, Opus Clips. And then I get Opus to use AI to make it into clips. And it makes it into, I think, about an hour live. It makes into about 30 clips ranging from 20 seconds to 3 minutes. You can toggle that to change it however you want, but I just do it like that. And then I only choose about 8 clips and have them scheduled to upload at the same time every day. So that's why you'll see some of my videos with no title or nothing on them, and sometimes edited weirdly. Hi, Lily Winters. So yeah, Opus Clips is really good, and I use CapCut on PC. And what else do I use? CapCut, and I've been using CapCut recently for my longer form videos. So when I shoot a video that I use for YouTube, they never come on here. I put that into CapCut and just edit out myself any dead spots or mistakes, and then add a beginning and an ending and upload that to YouTube Studio. Do you think it was dangerous for Trump to have all those admirals and generals in one place? Yeah. So I think it was an email, like everyone has said. There was no need, or a signal, as some people creatively stated. That could have been a signal chat. So yeah, but I think I'm I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't go in for any of that stuff. As soon as something sounds like that, I'm going to immediately start looking for the most plausible explanation. And in this case, I think the most plausible explanation is that it was a message. It was a message that, and a lot of his comments were off the cuff. Like, You don't have to listen. If you don't agree with me, you can leave, but then your career is over. These were, I think, off the cuff comments, but the subtext of the whole thing was that you're either with me or you're against me. I think that was the subtext of that meeting. Was it dangerous? I don't think so. I would like to. This is. I hear this sometimes at election time. Or what's it called when you have the president confirmed? That thing, inauguration. When you have an inauguration, then people say, "Oh, this is the most dangerous time because we're between presidents." That for a moment there's no president, and it's like, okay, yeah, that is a thing, but all these guys being in one place, I'd like to think that they have built-in levels of command, which I'm sure they do. That if that guy is not there, then somebody else is there to respond if something happens in that place where he's from. So no, not really. I don't think it was dangerous. Not really. Pointless? Yes. Like I said, it could have been an email. Like everyone said, that could have been an email. I thought it was a very, just my personal view on the attack on that meeting. People saying, oh, look, all the generals didn't go in for it. They were sitting there stoically. Like, yeah, that's what you would expect them to do, even when they're told to be at ease. I mean, I was in the junior Navy, like the kids one. And also, my dad was in the Navy, and I have a few relatives that have been in the military, and I have some military friends. At ease doesn't mean at ease. You know, when your commanding officer, whoever is, and in that case it's Trump, says to you at ease, it's not at ease. It just means you're not at attention. So when people say, "Oh, look, even they were told that they could laugh and they could cheer and they could clap," they didn't. No, they're not going to. Oh, but they clapped for some other guy. Well, maybe because they were being polite. I mean, if they were all doing it at the same time, then that means that they're pretty disciplined. And when that one line of Pete's didn't hit and you heard the one woohoo, I think there was a one woohoo and maybe two clapping. So that signals to me that these guys are in unison, and therefore, and because I don't believe their political beliefs are in unison, therefore I believe it was a at ease situation where they knew their place. They knew the protocols. That is, no woo-hooing and jumping out of your seat and, you know, applauding. That, I would not want to see that from generals, which is funny. A couple of people in my comments often ask me, what's your agenda? I'm like, I don't really have an agenda. I want to look at both sides of things and come to a logical conclusion. Interestingly, the people who generally ask me if I have an agenda are the ones that have an agenda. And because she knows that it can help her win. So this guy's in trouble. His son's in trouble. For guess what? Sportsmanship. There's a big thing. It may actually end his career. So it's interesting. For me, and it's something I just had a talk with my daughter about. It's like when you see people talking about something so strongly, about how bad this is, or don't do this, or bear in mind that they may be the ones that are actually doing that. And you guys know what I'm talking about. All the things in society. And it comes from Hamlet, it comes from Shakespeare. The lady doth protest too much. And it is often the case, thank you, Ariel Girl, that people who go on and on and on and on about something are the first ones to break those rules. Okay, so the new PM, Takaichi, the woman. Okay, so I expected it to be Koizumi, and he is the son of the former prime minister, who was, I think, if my memory is correct, is the second longest serving PM to Abe. And they're from the same party. Oh, what happened then? touch something. Thank you for joining my fan club, Cassie. She is very, very far right. So it's not really a change. It's not really a switch up. It's a confirmation that the LDP, the Liberal Democratic Party, none of those words in that name mean anything. It's most certainly not a party. They are still very, very far right. And I think choosing her was a response to the threat posed by Sanseto. That Sanseto went from 1 seat to 15. That's still not much, but 1 to 15 is a massive growth. Sometimes this happens in Japanese politics. New parties will come and flourish and then die down. But I think ultimately this is something that is going to be pretty sustainable, and it tracks with what's happened in Europe and the US and even Australia as well, where there is momentum for a more isolationist worldview. Even places like Australia that have always been very pro-immigration are looking at being not. And one of the things that Takaichi believes in is that we need to cut immigration in Japan. So that's exactly what Sanseto said they would do. And other side, there's I can't remember the names. I think Hatoyama. There's a couple of other guys who are also in the LDP that are much more inclined to accept immigration, face towards China a little bit more, embrace their region a bit more. But in selecting her, Japan's chosen to move away from that, and it'll be much of the same thing. You won't see anything new or different coming out of Japan as a result of this. It'll be a continuance of what's happening now. That's all. Not choosing Koizumi, that was surprising, but not that surprising, because he's not that popular. I think they're hoping with her that it will, one, bring back some of those people that could go to Sanseto to vote, and two, maybe bring in some women. I don't know, but which reminds me, I mean, we could. I don't know if we can compare her to Margaret Thatcher, but kind of like that, I don't think it's going to mean much. But then, don't listen to me. That's what I said about Trump. It's not going to... Remember me saying, hey guys, chill out. He's just going to be a more polished politician than he was last time. Yeah, there'll be a few tariffs and things. Don't worry. Did somebody mention future of gold or silver? Oh my god. It's crazy, BU2. It's crazy. I sold gold... probably over a year ago now, because I expected it to go down. And then I listened to people. There's an economist on here on TikTok, English guy. I can't remember his name offhand, but he's like, yeah, don't sell gold. Yeah, it's okay. My wife bought some back. Thank you, Cassie. I don't know. I mean, it's crazy. Will gold keep rising? I'm buying. That's all. That's all I'll say. It's factored into my monthly breakup of what I purchase, and gold's in there a little bit. So, I mean, but it always would be. I think my wife tweaked it a little bit and increased it somewhat. But it's just, the reason we can't answer that anymore, the reason you're asking that, is because it used to be pretty easy. Stocks go up, gold goes down. Stocks go down, gold goes up. The Japanese yen used to be like that. You know, oh, the stock market took a tumble. Watch the yen get some strength. And those days are gone. We, it, we everything is so uncertain that gold is the new safe haven. So, yeah, it's got nothing to do with. And don't listen to those people that talk about gold um, as oh God, what is wrong with my brain today? Don't listen to people that talk about gold as what's it called when when gold is the of your currency? Not reserve. That's not the word I'm looking for. Korea. Okay. You know, backed. Yes. Let's just go with that. Thank you. The get real. Yeah. Don't listen to those people that talk about backing the currency with gold. They're loopy. Gold standard. Thank you. Oh my God. Gold standard. Yeah. Don't. That was uh, the way people talk about are nostalgic for the gold standard is like, you know, it's like being nostalgic for the 50s, as if that was a time when everyone was free and everything was wonderful. Most certainly was not. Yeah, it was that was fake. That was gold standard was not real. So if you hear people talking about we should go back to the gold standard, be nice to them because they might be a little bit loopy. Okay, diversity, yes. So, um, what did I? Yeah, I think we increased gold, and at one stage I decreased U.S. stocks and increased EU. But oh, I'm making an EU video right now too. I'm actually thinking about making it into a YouTube video. So if you don't know, I do YouTube as well. It's new and there's not a lot on there, but I do like 5 to 15 minute videos on there, whereas all my TikTok videos are about, you know, 1 2 minutes. So if you go to YouTube, you can find some there. It's a little slow, sorry about that, but I don't use a script, so I just stream of consciousness, um, blurt it all out, and so it's a little bit slow. Actually speed it up. Actually, when I'm doing in YouTube Studio, I speed it up a little bit so that it's faster for people. Someone complained, so I'm making one about the EU. Yeah, I mean, as a person living in Japan, I tell other people buy anything. If you've got yen, get rid of them and buy anything else. So, you know, yeah, Bretton Woods system is well and truly done. So yeah, you know, you guys, what would I say to you? Because you earn US dollars, you have US dollars. You don't have to worry too much about currency. Um, I don't know. Keep your US dollars. Because that's, you know, I sometimes have friends, you know, people who are around me that randomly um, get some US dollars. Like they go somewhere and they came back or somebody sent them and they're like, oh man, I've got a couple $100. I'll buy it. I'll buy it and I'll give them Japanese yen for it. Is that illegal? I don't think that's illegal, is it? If I exchange, is that illegal? I don't think that's illegal. I think I just might have outed myself as a illegal money lender, not lender, trader. But yeah, that's what I do. I will. I tell my friends, I will buy your US dollars because it's hard here sometimes to get to the bank to do it. Okay, guys. So we've still got 16 people in here. That's good. That's about how many people I get in my Tuesday Night Live, but it's not 700. That guy that was just stripping computer parts. He had nearly 800 people in his live. Like, I'm expecting the gold price to fall tomorrow because 800 people are furiously digging around in their sheds for old computers and getting the gold out of them. Oh, was there anyone engaging? I don't know. I followed immediately though. So I engaged. I don't know. But I'm sitting here like, I've got half a dozen computers out there. I might go see if there's any gold in them. I mean, jeez. I mean, what did I make from TikTok this month? $100? Not even that. I might be better off pouring chemicals. Oh, thank you, Lord Whistledown. I might be better off pouring chemicals, and I can hear my daughter. She might have finished making whatever it is she's making. Okay. Oh dear. So I told you about my Amazon troubles, didn't I? I've got 2 products in Amazon right now, and it's costing me so much that I have to do. Have I been live that long? I might have to take Deanna up on her offer to store them in the warehouse. But if you guys don't know anything, if there's no people in here that do Amazon FBA, oh my God. You know, there's a reason that company makes a lot of money. They charge you for every single little thing that you do. You know, when you open your Amazon page and you see all those products on the first 2 pages, they're paying for that. They're paying to be there because 70% of people buy from the first page. If you're on page 5, you are finished. No one's buying your stuff. No one goes beyond page 2. And even if I wanted to get my stuff out, I've got 500 units of a new product. I have to pay for each unit to be removed. Like, not just the cost of sending them. Like, hey guys, can you send my stuff from your warehouse to this other warehouse? Yeah, sure. And they charge me for that. But they actually charge me to withdraw the units for removal. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. Yeah. So, I might have to take somebody up on an offer of warehouse space, because what I'm thinking of doing, these are my options. I've got 500 units, and I think this is the product, this one here, this set of 3 blank page books for decoration. I think the product is good. It's simple and it's reasonably priced, but it's just not selling because I can't afford to pay to make it to the front page anymore. And when I do pay, I get sales, but they're not enough sales to pay for the cost of being on the front page, because that can be crazy expensive. I need to be selling multiple units a day, and it's just, the competition's too big. There's too much competition. And so that was my mistake. So the product itself is not the mistake. It's the market that I chose to go into. That's all on me, 100%. The first product, not so great. This is this one here. And that's why I think I've got it on sale for about $10 now. That's not so great. I messed up there. I still like it. I like it not in the slipcase. It has a slipcase that comes with. I like it not in the slipcase. The whole point of standing out was to put it in a slipcase. It looks better without it. That's why people don't do slipcases. And then the second one, which I went with the flower design, I think looks quite nice. And but it just, people are not seeing it, and if people are not seeing it, they're not buying it. So if anybody has any advice there, or warehouse space, so this is what I'm thinking of doing. I'll run this by you. I'm thinking of removing it from Amazon, which is going to cost me a fortune. So automatically well, either way, I'd have to do that. So I remove it and then I send it to another warehouse where it's cheaper. And then I am make a contract with them to fulfill orders for me, and that will be much cheaper than Amazon is. So Amazon charges me like $6 per unit, and then with the fees involved in advertising it, it's at least $10 a unit before it goes out the door. It didn't even cost me that much. So if I can send it to another third party warehouse and then advertise it myself on eBay or through my own website or on here, I might be able to get some sales. And at least, you know, it could take me years, but at least the warehouse fees and the advertising fees wouldn't be actually putting me in negative territory. Does that make sense? So now the problem is that I can't advertise the product because it's costing me so much to store it. And because I can't advertise it, it's costing me so much to store it. Right? So something needs to give there. I considered removing them all, getting them to a third party warehouse and having them send that to me in Japan because I've got space here to store it. It's not that big. 400 units is a couple of pallets. And then the problem with that is if I fulfill each unit myself, I then have to pay postage back to the US, which would make the whole thing pointless. So, yeah, that's where I am. Yeah. Go on, Shark Tank. Could you see me? This book is amazing. Nobody's ever done this before. It's a book, but look, it's not. There's nothing in it. The sharks will be just like, oh my god, this guy is onto something. Oh dear. Shark Tank. It sounds like e-commerce is a great career track. I think it is. It really is for a lot of people. I think a lot of people can get into it, and I came in way too late, and I I'm well aware of the mistakes I made, and even my support, the people that were advising me, told me not to do this, and I went ahead and did it. So, you know, it's all on me. But I mean, to be honest, when I got into it, I didn't realize, I didn't look into it enough. It, you know, I have a banking friend in Frankfurt, and you can talk about economics until you're blue in the face, and his answer will always be yield, yield, yield. That's his answer for everything. He's right. If I'd done the numbers, I would have come to the conclusion that this wasn't a good venture, because when I was learning about Amazon FBA and I was hearing things like warehouse fees and fulfillment fees and product dimensions and you know inventory and old inventory and extra inventory costs, I just ignored it. I'm like, it can't be that much. Yeah, you got some stuff sitting around a warehouse. They're not going to charge me $100 for that. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They're going to charge you $100 every month just to store your stuff there. Like, that's outrageous. Yeah. Okay. Hire social media influencers. Yeah, to market your books. Exactly. If anybody knows any social media influencers that I could send a free set to and they would do it for free. Yeah, Amazon Basics. Yeah. Maybe Christmas. Yeah, I'm hoping, Deanna. I think this one came in and I just missed Mother's Day, and I was trying to make it in time for Mother's Day, and that's when all the tariff stuff was happening, and I'm like, I delayed sending it, and they added Jeffrey Epstein to Minecraft. No, I didn't see that. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, if I was there and I had my house there, I would just fulfill it myself. But the point is, I had the stuff made in China, sent straight to the US, and so it has to be fulfilled by Amazon. So, Deanna, if your daughter-in-law wants to buy them off me, I will sell them to her at a massive discount. And because I just want to get out of it now. I just want to get out of it because it's just costing me. Like I go look at my credit card and it's like, oh, I gotta hide this from my wife. She has no idea how much money I've lost.
If you're still here, honestly, you have no idea how much it helps if you subscribe. I'll keep these coming.